Hello, my name is Ammo Bear. There are so many what if moments in not just WWE, but in wrestling, probably more than any other sport. Moments are key in WWE and wrestling, but what if some of them were done different or didn't happen at all? The tiniest difference could have such a big butterfly effect. So let's see. This is WWE What If. What if CM Punk never left WWE? CM Punk left WWE in 2014 with his last match being that year's Royal Rumble. And still, every year around the Royal Rumble, there's always speculation that CM Punk is back in the Rumble this year, confirmed. But what if he never left? CM Punk hasn't even wrestled in a match in any organisation since the 2014 Royal Rumble. What if he never no-showed and just stayed? That year's WrestleMania 30, was meant to be Triple H versus CM Punk. I mean, we already got that match in Night of Champions 2011 during the summer of Punk. But would it have seen the voice of the voiceless win against the game at the grandest stage of them all? When Punk left, it began a massive push for Daniel Bryan, like a career-making push. At WrestleMania 30, from leaks from Mr. Punk's Instagram, the original match card was Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. Did CM Punk leaving change this? If CM Punk never left, would we have had the Miracle on Bourbon Street? Would CM Punk still be wrestling today, having great matches against stars like AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor and Kevin Owens? But he did leave, so I guess we'll never know. What if the streak never happened? The 21 WrestleManias The Undertaker never lost until some big MMA fighter came and ruined it all. During the time of the streak, it was always the big question of who will face The Undertaker at this year's WrestleMania. It was probably bigger than the title getting a match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania during the streak, with 9 times out of 10 the match being the best match on the card each WrestleMania. I say most because at the start of the streak there was some stinkers. I mean real stinkers. But he had some amazing matches with some of the biggest stars in WWE. Stars like Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Batista, Edge, CM Punk, Randy Orton, and the streak ended with Brock Lesnar, just to name a few stars. But what if it never happened? What if he lost at the first hurdle? And what if he lost to his first opponent, Jimmy Snuka? The streak was a big part of WrestleMania for many, many years. Could even say that it was WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is what it is today because of the streak. But what if it never happened? Would WrestleMania still be like it is today? We certainly wouldn't have the moment where he lost. Would WrestleMania still be going? I mean, yes, it would. That's me being very over the top, but sure. Would The Undertaker still be the most respected person or even biggest star in wrestling without the streak? In my heart, I know he'd still be the same big name that he is today. But what if he lost and he wasn't? What if Eddie Guerrero never died? On November 13th, 2005, not just the WWE, but wrestling world altogether had its heart broken. Eddie Guerrero sadly died due to heart failure in the biggest height of his career. Mr. Lie, Cheat and Steal was one of the biggest stars in the early 2000s, with having some of the great matches and great moments. But sadly he was taken away at the height of his career. But we always ponder, what if? What if he was still alive? Would he be a multi-time world champion? Would he even be in the Hall of Fame today? Would he still be wrestling? Or even wrestling for WWE for that matter? Would Rey Mysterio have gone to win his first Royal Rumble and win his first title at WrestleMania? Rey Mysterio got a massive push after the death of Eddie Guerrero. Not saying it was undeserved, but he did get a massive push after the death of Eddie Guerrero. But he did go on to headline WrestleMania 22 for his late great best friend. Sadly, Eddie Guerrero did miss a couple of stars that were still around during the time when Eddie Guerrero was wrestling. People like Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, and John Cena in his prime. But if he was still wrestling today, we would have got to see matches great superstars like AJ Styles, Seth Rollins or Daniel Bryan. Imagine that right now. Daniel Bryan versus Eddie Guerrero. Just think how awesome that match would have been. But sadly, we'll never find out. What if John Cena turned heel? John Cena is the babyface of babyfaces. John Cena was the biggest face for over 2 decades. Now, being the top good guy, John Cena did get his fair share of a lot of haters. I mean, a lot of hate. Like, sometimes he got booed more than the heels during that time. John Cena does get a lot of comparison from Hulk Hogan and The Rock. But both Hulk Hogan and The Rock have turned heel before. But in his prime, John Cena never turned heel. And yes, I do know he was heel when he was rapping thing, but that was not prime John Cena. But what if he did turn heel during the prime of his career? Would he be walking around acting like Roman Reigns is today? Or would he have gone back to his old gimmick of being the doctor of thugonomics? Would matches with people like Daniel Bryan in SummerSlam 2013 been much different if John Cena was heel? Would he have won more titles? Would he have been an over 16 time world champion? One of his biggest rivalries was Randy Orton, but would it have been much different if John Cena was the heel and not Randy Orton? How about one of his biggest matches that has ever happened with The Rock at WrestleMania 28? Would he have won that? Or a whole storyline have been different? Would he have even had half the rivals he did with people like Edge, Rock and Orton? For years, fans asked for John Cena to turn heel, and it just never happened. But what if he did? Would John Cena have been the massive worldwide star he is today? I guess we'll never find out. Halfway there now, guys. What do you think of the what ifs so far? What are your biggest what ifs? What do you think the last one will be? Comment down below. Please like the video if you are enjoying the video so far. It does help massively. Please subscribe for more content and turn on notifications to know when my next video is out. I also stream on Facebook Gaming, so check me out over there and follow my page. All links are down in the description. What if Roman Reigns never joined the Shield? The Shield, with Reigns, Rollins and Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, was one of the biggest stables from 2012 to 2014. In their short time of being together as a stable, they had some amazing accomplishments, with multi-time tag team championships, some amazing storylines with Evolution, the Rose Brothers and Team Hell No. But after CM Punk left the WWE and had the infamous Colt Cabana podcast with Punk, we found out Roman Reigns was never meant to be in the Shield. Cassius Ohno, or better known as Chris Hero, was meant to be with Rollins and Ambrose, not Roman. But it was later changed to Roman Reigns to be the big man in the Shield. But what if they never changed it? What if Cassius Ohno had been the third member and not Reigns? Would Roman Reigns have been the star that he is in WWE today? The Shield was Roman's gimmick even when they disbanded. He kept their theme music and still wore the bulletproof jackets for years. Would have Roman Reigns even main evented 3 WrestleManias on the trot? WrestleMania 32, 33 and 34. Would he have even won the Royal Rumble in 2014? Or even held the World Championship multiple times. Better yet, would he have even made it out of NXT? Or would he have been released? Well, Roman Reigns is one of the biggest stars in WWE, but just think about it. What if the Montreal Screwjob never happened? In 1997 Survivor Series of that year, Shawn Michaels faced Bret Hart for the WWF Championship, and it turned out to be one of the biggest nights in wrestling history. Bret Hart was the champion going into this bout. A week prior to the match, Bret Hart signed a deal with longtime rival WCW and was going to leave in December 1997. But Vince McMahon did not want Bret Hart to leave with a WWF Championship, and he needed to get the title off him pronto. But Bret Hart didn't want to lose the title to the Heartbreak Kid. With their on-screen and off-screen rivalry, let's just say they weren't the best of friends backstage. So Bret Hart refused to drop the title to Shawn. And in the infamous moment that we remember, Shawn Michaels got Bret Hart in the sharpshooter, Bret Hart's own move on him. And referee Earl Hebner called for the bell, even though Bret Hart didn't tap. But what if this never happened? What if Bret Hart lost the title to someone else before he left the company? What if he just lost the match fair and square? Would he have stayed in WCW for as long as he did? Would he have had to retire early after getting that injury from Goldberg? Bret Hart's next appearance was in 2006 when he got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Maybe if the Screwjob didn't happen, he would have been back sooner. Funnily enough, many years later, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels buried the hatchet in a documentary with Jim Ross talking about the rivalry. If the Screwjob had never happened, this documentary would have never even happened either. So would they still be on talking terms today? This was the biggest kayfabe break in WWE of all time. I wonder if it never happened, would WWE still be like how it is today? What if Hulk Hogan wasn't the third man? In 1993, WCW signed the biggest star from WWF. Hulk Hogan joined WCW in one of the biggest plot twists in wrestling history. In 1996, at Bash of the Beach, the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and a mystery third man faced Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger in a 6-man tag team match. And the mystery man turned out to be... Turn away if you don't want any spoilers. It was the Hulk Hogan. And NWO was formed. And one of the biggest heel turns of all time happened. But what if it never happened? Years later, one of the founding members of the NWO, Scott Hall, revealed that Sting was actually meant to be the third man, not Hogan. So if it never have happened, would Hulk Hogan have even turned heel? Would he have carried on eating his vitamins and saying his prayers for the rest of his career? The NWO was one of the biggest things in WCW, and Hulk Hogan made it as big as it is. Without Hogan as the front man of the NWO, would WCW have gone bankrupt and been bought by the WWF sooner? Or would it have been better for WCW and helped them win the war against WWF? So many questions, but no way to find out. What if Stone Cold Steve Austin retired early? In the 1997 SummerSlam in an Intercontinental Championship match, Owen Hart faced the challenger Stone Cold Steve Austin. And towards the end of the match, Owen Hart hit a pile driver on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And with Stone Cold not putting his head in the right place, one of the biggest botches in WWE history happened. All of Owen Hart's weight just sat down on Austin's neck, breaking his neck and causing temporary paralysis. But like the champ that Austin is, he still rolled up Owen and won the title, and he was helped out the ring holding the championship up high. He was forced to vacate the title as well as the tag team championship he was holding at the time, but just a couple months later he was back. Unfortunately, the neck injury did cause Stone Cold to retire earlier than expected. But what if straight after the injury he just retired there and then? In what I think the biggest butterfly effect would have happened, and in my opinion the biggest what if in WWE. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the Attitude Era. No ifs, no buts, he was the Attitude Era. But what if he did retire early? Would the Attitude Era have gone on for as long? And one of the biggest saving graces in WWE and WWF history, Austin had a rivalry with Mr. McMahon. This rivalry was the biggest save in WWE's history. But if that rivalry had never happened, would this video have even been titled What If WWE? Or would this video have been called WCW What If? What I'm trying to get at is, what if WCW would have won, and would they have bought WWF? Austin, as well as other people like The Rock and The Undertaker, were the front runners in the Attitude Era in what saved the WWE in the Monday Night Wars. But without Austin, none of this would have happened. But thank God he did. Thank you everybody for watching. What did you think of the list? Do you have any what ifs? I'm sure there will be a part 2 in the future, because I can still think of loads of what ifs in my head. So please comment below of ideas and what ifs you can think of. Please like the video if you did enjoy the content, it does help big time. Subscribe if you did enjoy the video for more content, and remember to turn on notifications to know when my next video is out. Come on, do it, it's free. I do go live every Friday on Facebook Gaming, where me or Brom will be there. All links are in the description. And once again, thank you for watching, and remember, join the revolution.